Hi, everyone. Welcome to the New Year Checklist Improve Your Margins in 2022 webinar. I'm Rachel. I'm the Content Marketing Manager here at Barn to Door.
And I'm Chris. I'm one of the account managers here, part of the success department.
And we're going to discuss today why your farm can't use the off-season or the winter months to unplug leading up to the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a key time of year that people often are more focused on the farm projects or other aspects and can maybe lean away from some of these areas that are still really key and important to be checking in on this time of year.
Exactly. And we see that the most successful farms use this time to plan their goals, evaluate their brand, engage their audience, and do a lot of cleanup too, which is nice. So today we're going to walk through, what your farm can be doing right now before the markets open, before harvest, and really just to kind of gear up for the busy season.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited.
So let's dive into the first checkpoint. So plan your 2022 goals. I mean, depending on your farm and your priorities, goals can differ drastically, but when thinking about goals, it's super important to improve your business throughout the year and to be able to plan ahead and understand what your priorities are.
Yeah. And what is success? Are you going to know if you don't have a goal out there to track towards and to check in by the end of the year?
Exactly. And these should be tangible and measurable too, because if you can't measure it, then you can't improve it, right? Mm-hmm. So let's dive into the steps to success. So there's a couple questions outlined here. So what are your customers' experiences with your farm? Do you regularly engage buyers on all channels? And how does your farm stay top of mind? I mean, these are three really important questions to figuring out what your goals are.
Yeah, and how do you start to look through some of those? Maybe, as far as that first question, go log into your store from the customer perspective, or even from the back end of your account, click on the view store up at the top right, and then go start a checkout, kind of get there all the way to the cart and kind of see how things are looking. Are there some changes that need to be made? Is there anything you could add to the banner at the top, that can help out there?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we can also focus on the 5 levers of farm success. Do you want to run through the 5?
Yeah,
I'm putting you on the spot.
Let's see, do I have them? Quality, brand, pricing, convenience, and number 5, which wouldn't be in the initial 4 levers blog, is education. So definitely looking at that, maybe setting some goals off the top too of how many Connect sessions you're going to attend this year. Maybe looking into the academies. Love the MailChimp Academy, Social Academy. Very excited about the Content Academy coming up soon.
Yes. I will be leading that, TBD on when that will be coming, but all about, how to write content across the different platforms. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and then brand being one of those other levers mentioned there is probably number 1, especially when working through the scorecards with the scale farms that we often start there because it's such a dramatic change there to be upping the frequency of your posts and some other opportunities there that we'll be discussing too, planning through the 3 E's of content.
Yeah, absolutely. And quality, that's such a big one too that farms can be focusing on. Of course, all the farms here focus on quality and have high quality products, but you can also think about other ways you can enhance trust among your customers, like joining different, affiliations, like, certified naturally grown is the first one that comes top to my mind, or, aligning yourself with other organizations that are local to your community.
Maybe you're already saying, oh yeah, I've done that, but how easy is it to find that information on your website, in your social posts and newsletter? Are you regularly communicating how quality your product is? Because you may know it's quality, but does everybody else know?
Yeah. And like I said, that further enhances, trust and also increases customer retention too. And people are willing to pay a higher price for a product when they truly trust the quality and the effort that's going into it.
Yeah, the difference between a commodity product and a luxury product, right?
Exactly, yeah. So moving on, we're going to dive into the second one here, update and refine your inventory. Understanding the performance of your existing inventory and products, it can really give farmers insights into, your pricing, your packaging, and how buyers are responding to your overall product offerings.
Absolutely, yeah. You can see that even just in the reporting off in your store, but even looking at, we'll talk more about reporting later, but looking at the advanced reporting and seeing how certain bundles or subscriptions are performing. Is there an opportunity to make some changes here that can be really effective for boosting your sales moving forward?
Like you just said, Chris, your sales outcomes, it could be a reflection of your existing inventory and your product assortment. So let's walk through these 3 ways that farmers can leverage to update and refine their inventory. So the first is subscriptions.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of just bringing up there, right, of definitely an area that pretty much all of our top farms are leaning into, if not leaning into more and more, of how many subscriptions do they have going. Such a great way to stabilize revenue. Think of one of the top farms here that, consistently has had 70 to 80% of their revenue to be subscription based. And that's, so much less of worrying about what's coming or chasing after the sale, right? It just brings some regularity to your business and in the flow there that can be really helpful for even planning as we go into speaking later towards some of the financial planning aspects.
Absolutely. And if your farm isn't implementing subscriptions yet, you should definitely start. I mean, Americans on average have 9 paid subscriptions, Chris. Did you know that?
That's wild. It still blows my mind.
I know. So, I mean, your farm can easily be one of them, and it should be one of them. So being able to look through your inventory and your order history, and if you look and see too, like which products customers, are consistently buying or consistently going back to, converting those over to subscriptions, you're just going to see that recurring revenue coming in.
Absolutely. And you might think, oh, that doesn't, work for our product, but just about every product base of different, farms and producers here at Barn to Door can have some kind of subscription going on. And that's something that can be built out in your schedules of the start date and end date, and to be running, 12, 16 week CSA subscription boxes. And that goes right into that next point of accepting pre-orders, right? Build out the schedule now for June through July and the subscriptions to occur each of those weeks.
Absolutely. And like you said, you can begin to sell pre-orders to your subscriptions that begin in the spring. So going back to the topic of this webinar, improving your margins for 2022 and getting ready for the new year, if you order up that pre-order right now for spring and blast it out to your email list, you're going to start seeing orders come in automatically.
And cash is always more valuable today than tomorrow. So why not take it now?
Exactly. And then moving to the third point of bundle boxes, I mean, Chris, we see the most successful farms on Barn to Door have 5 to 7 bundle box options in their stores.
Absolutely. And some of you might be thinking, folks that, do half and whole hogs or pigs or quarter halves and wholes of beef and like, oh, can't do that. Well, I encourage you to look into Old Rich Valley, one of our top farms here, that they use a herd share form to be able to, still have their customers buying into that aspect and then being able to facilitate a bundle subscription aspect. And that's where one of our partners, the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, can be really helpful to help you with kind of the legal back end of some of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when we also think about bundles, a trick I like to always share, Chris, is include your most high demand products or your specialty products only in bundle box formats to move the rest of your inventory. So you'll see more sales and higher average orders too coming in, because if people want that bacon, they can only get it in a bundle box. So they got to have additional items in there too.
You nailed it with bacon, and that's even one of the farms here close by that it's only in the breakfast bundle for more than just the price of the bacon that you're going to lock in a big purchase instead of just a couple one-off bacon purchases.
Yeah. So moving on to the third step, we have engage your customers on all channels. That's a big one.
Oh yeah. It's huge. It's definitely, even working with so many of the top farms here, that is the number one area of improvement, even for those who are already doing it extremely successfully.
That's a really good point, Chris. And just to reiterate, when you're staying top of mind, you're engaging all your customers across all channels, your customers will think of you when they're ready to make that purchase. So that's why being on all channels, website, social, email, and being optimized for mobile is so important.
Yeah. And, I see so many folks that maybe they do have that CSA, right? And they send those weekly newsletters, right, consistently throughout that season, and then just stop. But you see these great open rates and click rates, and the missed opportunity to be selling next year's CSA or any other kind of one-off purchases that begin happening right now, going back to even some of those former points there. And so keep up that connection, and that way too that those folks are ready to receive that newsletter when they start becoming more frequently in the regular season as well.
Yeah, consistency is really key here for sure.
Stay top of mind.
Yes. Exactly. To dive into the points, I mean, the first is, update your email subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, that monthly newsletter is kind of a great minimum bar to clear. You don't always have to be sending that weekly newsletter, but, staying up to date with what's going on the farm.
Tying back to the theme here, just using the winter months to scrub your email list too, I think is really important. And also, we recommend putting your customers into groups as well, especially when using MailChimp. So you can have, your group of new customers, loyal customers, and maybe customers that haven't purchased in a while. So using the time to really organize your list too is super important.
And one feature I love with MailChimp, I feel like I've been going around more and more with folks now, is the pre-built segments that you can send some of those campaigns. We have a great blog about the customer journeys and how one of the farms experienced this huge, increase of 35% sales that week, which is pretty big for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Automation is key too when it comes to email. So going to social media, I mean, where email is a place where you can just regularly and consistently engage your customers directly, social media is a really great way to emphasize your values, your practices, your products, but also kind of entertain your customers too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Is there something funny that pops up on a Facebook group that you're part of that you can share specifically to your audience? Any other kind of funny ideas, or just something? I love one of the things we often share with farmers to post is like, want to trade jobs today. Yeah. Maybe you're out there in the snow or the ice right now and you want to send that out there and ask them, and you can get some great responses and continue to drive up your algorithmic strength, which is really key when it comes to those social posts. Is how is the algorithm treating you and landing on people's social feeds?
Absolutely. And I want to call out Grass-Fed Cattle Co. and Orem Farms. Valerie and Joelle do such a great job of using the 3 E's, entertain, educate, and e-commerce, to have a mixed variety of what they're posting as well, to keep it interesting.
Absolutely. It really helps with that content planning and even scheduling, and finding ways that, you can work with your account manager on even using the Facebook Business Suite and kind of being able to schedule and finding ideal times to post, which can be really helpful.
Absolutely. And then moving on to your website, having a farm website is super key. And this is, I feel like, the best place to be able to emphasize your practices, more information about your products, how to place an order from the farm.
Absolutely. Yeah. The website being a passive channel is still an awesome opportunity, especially in this time of year, to really hone in on some of those content aspects. Are you solving your customer's problem? Are you identifying that problem for the customer, and are you solving it? So finding, areas of messaging throughout the website that really make it clear that, yes, I am your source for local food, right? Or this farm is your answer to your problem, wanting to find something sustainable and local.
Absolutely. And right now is the best time to be able to, update your website. So what new photos have you posted recently that you can add to your site? Is there new products that you're starting to grow or you want to offer this spring that customers should know about on your website? Okay, moving to the next point, assess the financial health of your farm. Chris was just talking to me before we started the webinar about just how truly important it is to be aware of your financial standing and consistently stay on top of your finances.
Absolutely. Being a former accountant, this definitely jumps into a little bit of my wheelhouse. And so definitely looking at the different pieces we're going to be looking here towards, and even in the ebook, really key looking at, the cash flow statement, the income statement, and those different, financial statements that can be really powerful for being able to plan. So many folks are maybe just looking at the bank account or even the bank account statement, which is even more of a delayed way of looking at your cash flow. But what's upcoming next, and what other expenses are there to be thinking about as you're working through some of these different accounting statements, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just being aware of your cash and your available income, and even taking a look at your balance sheet too. I mean, not only does it help farms plan for the future of their growth, but it also helps them prepare for a rainy day. I mean, God forbid if something, goes wrong on the farm, or you need to, buy some new equipment. When you have that visibility into what's there and what's not, you know exactly, what next steps you can take.
Right. I mean, I've yet to meet a farmer or producer that doesn't run into a broken tool here, or fence posts or whatever it could be, that is something that you can anticipate and plan for. And that's where some of these statements and working with, if you're not already using QuickBooks Online, now's a great time to get that set up. Maybe historically you've been using more of the QuickBooks desktop app, right? Which doesn't have those constant updates and ability to plug into software like Barnador. This is the key to making the right decisions at the right time. If you don't have the right data, then it's really hard to make the right decision at the right time.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just want to call out this quick stat on the slide here. Farms that use QuickBooks enjoy higher margins and are the most successful farms that run on Barn to Door. So we really see the farmers that are using the Barn to Door and QuickBooks Online integration, they have increased visibility into their cash and their available income, and they're able to make those decisions at the right time and are also able to project the growth of their company for the next year and beyond, which is super important.
Yeah, and if your eyes are crossing or your heads are spinning right now, that's why QuickBooks Online and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor can be so helpful, so that instead of it just being something overwhelming, it's something that's easy for you.
And you're not spending hours manually trying to figure this out yourself, which that can be a headache. Okay, so moving on to our last point here, measure your success. To grow a farm business, any business for that matter, you need to measure your return on investment.
Absolutely. Going right back to the SMART goals, or the goals we were talking about at the beginning, this is kind of a great bringing that back, right? And how are we tracking towards that? Not just checking in now and then checking at the end of the year. Let's track the progress all the way throughout the year so you can make sure to hit those goals.
Absolutely. And if you don't have visibility into your inputs, you're not able to make those time-saving adjustments either. So moving on to the steps to success, all of your goals should be trackable to see if you're actually achieving them or not, right?
Absolutely.
So we can walk through the different tools that farmers can be using right now to track their progress. So the first one that sticks out is Barn Store reporting.
Yeah, there's the base reporting right away when you're logging into your Barnador account. It can give you an easy snapshot of today's sales, this last week, and the last month, and even looking at kind of back to earlier points of like what are your most popular products. You can even start there. But let's say you're in the off season and you need to look further out. That's where the advanced reporting aspect can be really useful. Highly recommend the blog kind of showcasing those pre-built reports on advanced reporting. If you need some help there too, attending a Barnador Connect session or reaching out to your account manager can be helpful to get some of the right resources around this and some additional training. But I think it's the inventory analysis that you can really dial in.
Yeah, it's amazing. Between the sales volume capabilities, you can even, it gets down to the nitty gritty of like who are your most loyal customers,
Absolutely.
where are they located? Maybe you can open up a delivery route in their area.
Absolutely.
It can give you so much useful information to grow a business.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're not just trying to grow your audience, right? You want to grow the sales, and like your VIPs or your top buyers can really be an opportunity of, hey, let's get them, to this average order size, to this average order size, or this frequency, to beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one that sticks out to me is email analytics. With the Barn to Door and MailChimp integration, you can measure the revenue that's coming out of your emails, open rates, click rates. What else do you tell farmers to make sure they're checking?
Even when checking some of those, right? So like your open rates, looking at, an average about 25 to 35% as good. If that's kind of something to track. I have plenty of farmers work with that are even in like the 50%, plus open rates, which is mind blowing. I used to work at a software company when they get excited for a 1.7% open rate. And so, how are you managing it? How are you tracking that? How are you looking at the different newsletters and their performance?
Absolutely. And also just being able to see like what messaging is prompting open rates or clicks or different things like that too, to either iterate, to try something else new to see if that works, or to just kind of keep doing what you're doing well. So social media analytics and performance, that's really important too, between likes, boosting your organic reach, and also just seeing which posts people are relating to the most. It's super important to seeing other things that you can be posting and what your customers are responding to, right?
Absolutely. So when you're doing that tracking on social posts, you can see, what areas you could lean into when either boosting specific posts or looking more at the ads manager to run an ad kind of with similar content.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have our recap here just to go through what we talked about. So plan your 2022 goals. great first step. I mean,
Absolutely.
gets you off the track running and is the first kind of go-to activity you should be doing right now, especially when it's quieter on the farm. Number 2, updating and refining your inventory. Super important to understand, what products people are responding to, how to simplify your inventory and increase conversions. Number 3, engaging customers on all channels. When you're consistently engaging them, they're going to keep your farm top of mind. And when you have products to sell, if you don't have any right now, then they're going to return to you in the spring if you're constantly sending them newsletter updates and engaging them on social media. Number 4, assessing the financial health of your farm. I mean, I feel like that's your topic.
Yeah. Reminder too on the different statements. And again, definitely recommend that the ebook looking through that breakdown of what is that cash flow statement, what is the income statement, and what is the balance sheet. And then, again, QuickBooks Pro Advisor is going to be a great resource digging into those.
Absolutely. And lastly, measuring your success. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it, right? So being able to use all those free tools that we went over, there's also advanced capabilities that are really worth it just to have those increased insights and visibility into the workings of your farm business.
And starting at the beginning, right? The goals, how are you going to attain those goals? If you're tracking throughout the year and working the progress towards those goals, then more likely to be achieving those goals.
Absolutely. And like you've been mentioning this whole time, check out the New Year checklist, Improve Your Margins for 2022 ebook. Everything that we covered today is in this ebook. Make sure to also check out Connect. We have our community forum that's just launched recently, which is exciting. And all of our other free farm business resources on barnstore.com/resources. Well, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel.